Welcome in to our Jacksonville Jaguars franchise, where today we are on the road down in NRG Stadium to face division rival in the Houston Texans. And as it stands for the AFC South, the Texans are the only team who can rival our Jaguars for the South Division. And that's coming off a very back and forth opening to the season against the Colts and Titans. They did pick up 2 divisional wins, but then they dropped the 41-0 game against the Seahawks, 27-7 against the Raiders, and 34-20 against the Niners. They then hit on 3 big wins, but missed out against the Chiefs, sending them into their late season bye. With 4 games remaining, they need to win a majority of these to even have a possibility of making the playoffs, and half of them are against our Jags. And as for our Jags, we've done really fantastic in all of our non-divisional games outside of this Ravens game, which we'll talk about shortly. We've beaten all non-divisional teams. We have lost every divisional game so far, 2 against the Titans and 1 to the Colts. And speaking of said Ravens game, where we did lose 28-7, we had to play our backup quarterback in Jaren Hall, as Trevor Lawrence got injured pretty early on in that game. Though while he was healthy, we weren't doing too great offensively. But to help try to solidify this offense for the future to come, Travis Etienne Jr. has been signed through the 2029 season. He's only 26 years old. He's a superstar at a 93 overall. He needs to be the forefront of this offense, and when we have been in close games, he's been a key figure. We just got to make sure we keep these games either with us in front or a close battle. And against the Texans, it's mostly going to come down to our defense. CJ Stroud having a pretty solid year, not necessarily bad nor good, with about 3,000 passing yards, 16 touchdowns. It's the 11 turnovers that's a little bit of a cause of concern. 68% complete, though, sitting pretty solid. Joe Mixon having a very solid year, pretty average to what he typically does. Receiving is where we are going to struggle. We've seen our DBs get picked apart in these divisional games. And with Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, as well as Dalton Schultz, and even a little bit of Joe Mixon out of the backfield, they're going to have their hands full. Collins and Dell leads them in touchdown receptions, but it's Dell who definitely leads them in yards and targets. As for our offense, there are some guys to keep an eye on. Christian Harris in his contract year, he's leading the Texans in tackles with 77. TFL's Danielle Hunter already in the double digits, with Brown, Golston, and Anderson right behind. Sack-wise, you have 4 for Golston and Anderson Jr. They also pick off the ball quite a lot, especially Jair Brown. The only saving grace for us, though sad news, is Will Anderson is out the remainder of this season with a fractured elbow. They will also be missing Kenyon Green, who broke his finger this week in practice, and Yaya Diaby with a back strain. But before we can claim division champs, we gotta prove we can beat at least one divisional team. We got 3 chances, as one starts now, as the kick is off. Devin Duvernay back to return. He's got a couple blockers out in front, peels to the outside. Not gonna get a juke there on the outside defender. And it'll be at the 35, where Trevor Lawrence, returning from injury last week, will head on out with his offense. Coach Boston said the game plan is to be light on Lawrence, as long as the flow of the game allows for it. And if that is to be the case, this offensive line has got to be prepared. Open up some blocks and those running lanes for Travis Etienne. He picks up 3rd on 1st down. They go back to him on 2nd for an extra 2. Harris, though, meets him, and it leaves us with a 3rd and 5. A spread look here for Lawrence, 2 to either side. He's got motion on the right-hand side. Thomas into the slot as they throw a lofted pass to Devin Duvernay. That one was well covered. Not sure what Lawrence was looking at there. But I do know what we're going to be looking at, and that is CJ Stroud and the Texans offense coming on out after a quick 3 and out. They start at the 26, and they go to Joe Mixon, but Lloyd quickly brings him down. He fired through those blocks, and limits the gain. They're going to just say he's back to the line. It's empty set as they throw Dalton Schultz. He picks up 4. And an injury here. Looks like Fisher, one of the offensive linemen here of the Texans. He's going to gingerly head to the tunnel. And they were already missing one of their offensive linemen with a practice injury. So an even weaker group here with a 3rd and 6. As they look to flood one side of the field, Stroud will pick up the first. He challenged Deluican to make the stop. Gets there about half a yard short. So 1st and 10 at the 36 as I go to Mixon. And yet again, no gain. A good stop on the outside. Cisco coming down from the safety spot. 2nd and 10. They go back to Mixon, and it's a tackle from the backside. Walker. Running game doing a great job here for the defense out the gate. Another no gain. A 3rd and 10. Another chance to get off the field as they throw it to Mixon. Savage bounces off of him, but bringing him down at the 41. That should be a punt by the Texans. And in a game that has a lot of offensive weapons, it's the defenses making a name for themselves out the gate. As Lawrence and the Jaguars hit the field again, they start back at the 10. He leads all quarterbacks in rushing yards. Might not see too much of that today as Etienne takes his 3rd carry, popping it off about a gain of 13. With how much they've already looked to run, we might see a little bit more of Tank Bigsby as well. The spellback, Etienne down the middle, trucks through, he keeps his feet. Showed off a little bit of some high stepping there, but that might have slowed down the progress. Jaguars, though, still all the way up to the 44 following the big gain. 1st and 10 as they go with some play action. Coming across, they've got Sexton who gets the grab. He's really shown a lot of improvement after being moved down from tight end 1 to tight end 2. He's gotten healthy and he's starting to make some plays yet again. Etienne this time, no room. And that's just kind of how the running game works. You're not going to hit it every single time. Just keep that rolling, and eventually you pop off a big one. Etienne looks for the cutback lane here. Lane ended up opening up to the right side, just a gain of 2. And that'll leave the Jaguars with a 3rd and 8 at the 36. Levi Brown checks in the slot. He's a running back / receiver hybrid. As they look for him here, he's open right down the seam. Inside the 15, a fresh set for the Jags. I think Brown just in shock on how open he got there. He does head back to the sideline. Etienne back out here. He follows the blocks. Receivers get involved as well. Etienne, he's down to the 1. A 1st and goal for the Jaguars as they come out with a heavy shotgun look. The pulling guard to help lead the way again. It's a touchdown for Travis Etienne Jr. Coming off that contract extension, he captures the lead for Duval. Makes this 7-0 in Houston. Now the 31 will be the Texans starting their next drive. They got 8 seconds left here in the 1st quarter. Throw to the outside. They find Dalton Schultz, who breaks a couple tackles, picks up 7. And that takes us to the end of the 1st quarter where the Jaguars are up by 7. 7-0. And overall, looks like we've got a tight, fun game here. Defenses made the plays early. Jaguars got the touchdown. Can the Texans answer? With a 2nd and 3, 2 tight ends to the right-hand side. Stroud will look to throw, but he's under pressure, and it's a sack by Junior Alford, the rookie. He hasn't got too much playing time this year, really just coming out in the base packages, but makes a big play there to force a 3rd and 11. Jags bring the pressure again, and it's his rushing partner in Mason Smith, picking up the sack and forcing that punt. And that's just what we've got to see a whole lot more of from this defense here today. Offense starts at the 25. Travis Etienne, he scored last time. He's 2nd in running back receiving yards, and they look to go his way right out the gate with the screen. And so far, they are doing exactly what Coach Boston said we should expect. A little bit of a lighter game here from Lawrence. He hasn't taken too many plays, definitely hasn't ran the ball. It's been Etienne's offense. And with he being one of the few running backs to get a 2nd contract, well, it makes sense why. They're up to the 42 with a pistol ace set. They look to go back to Etienne. He gets it to the outside, but there is a flag back in the backfield. A gain of 13, and it might be a loss of 23 from that point. And you get Antone Harrison. Good news is that it was a couple yards downfield, so it's a 1st and 18 rather than 20. As Lawrence, he throws well short. Looked like he was trying to find Gabe Davis, but the ball finds the turf. 2nd and 18, Lawrence now under center. As they go play action to Etienne, rolling, has an open target. This time he finds Davis. Brenton Strange coming up to try to help get a block. All the way down to the 38 go the Jaguars. Lawrence does a good job on that play, rolling and throwing an accurate ball. He did take a hit after he released it. Approaching the 5-minute mark here of the second quarter. Motioning out, Josiah DeGuara. Etienne down the middle with a nice cut. Picks up 4. And he's already got 67 yards just rushing the ball, not from scrimmage. With a 2nd and 6 at the 34. They go with some more play action. Come to cost, Gabe Davis. He gets the catch, and that's going to be a walk-in touchdown. Jaguars take a 2-score lead here in Houston. They're finally, as it seems right now, knock on wood, cross your fingers, getting the best of a division rival. And you could thank the running game for opening up the passing for the Jaguars. Meanwhile, the Texans, they haven't really been able to open up anything, as they start at the 26, about 4 minutes left before the break. Here comes Walker with the stop, gain of 3 for Joe Mixon. They really got to find a way to get all their receiving talent picking up some big catches. As they throw downfield, it's picked off, Jerrion Jones. Ball underthrown by Stroud as he was under pressure. It was Devin Lloyd who sent himself on the blitz, or it was a delayed blitz. Either way, Jaguars taking over. They were up by 14. But starting at the 41 with 3:44, they could look to extend that lead. 2 to the right-hand side as they'll look to throw. Quick throw out to Brenton Strange, who takes an awkward hit. The good news is he held on to it, picks up 4 in the process. Trips go to the left-hand side as they go RPO. Etienne takes it for a short gain. Al-Shaair picking up the tackle. It leaves a 3rd and 3. They're at the 34. Bunch goes to the right-hand side. Davis alone to the left. Duvernay motions to the outside, breaking up that bunch. They look his way across the middle. He gets the catch. Last time they went his way, it was a interesting choice from Lawrence. That time, a smart one. And that sets them up inside the 30, approaching the 2-minute warning. Both teams have all their timeouts. Play action for Lawrence as he's got a wide open Strange. Safety comes over and well times it. I'm sure a lot of Jaguar fans there thought that might have been another touchdown. Not quite yet. As they go with the end around, block comes in a little bit late. Thomas breaks a tackle, picks up 5 as the 2-minute warning arrives. Texans, they need to stand here at the 23. Lawrence back in shotgun. As open across the middle, he finds Thomas. Baited him into that one to let that open up a little bit more. Well, that does lead to yet another hit coming in on Lawrence. He's taken a few, not as much as he typically does. Etienne right down the middle, and it's a 3-score lead. A minute 20 left here in the first half. Jaguars making a statement here after their follies in divisional play so far. And coming off a very underwhelming offensive performance last week against the Baltimore Ravens, this is exactly how Coach Boston needed his team to respond. A minute 15 following the kickoff. And Stroud really needs to get his team going as well. Nice play design here. That opens up Tank Dell, though it looks like he coughs the ball up. A Jaguar defender. It's Savage who jumps on top of it. If the play stands, it's a turnover, though we might have to take a second look at this one. And with an expedited review, yeah, we are right back out here on defense. As now they get Nico Collins open. He shakes the tackle. Devin Lloyd eventually pushes him out. A really good last 2 plays then it ends up being for the Texans as the fumble overturned. They're inside the 40. Looking to continue to pass the ball or looking to scramble instead. Stroud takes a hit there from Lloyd. But with no contact to the head and starting that tackle before the slide, no penalties come in. It's 2nd and 2 at the 29. Pass to the outside and caught. Schultz. Savage was there. Tight coverage, just wasn't quite able to break it up. They go with trips to the left-hand side. Mixing out of the backfield, and they get Stephon Diggs, his first catch. Stroud was looking for him on that interception to Jerry and Jones. Time running out here inside 10 seconds as they don't elect to call that timeout. Might need it here, or a flag instead comes in late. And it's going to be a holding call. Boston will decline to keep the angle a little bit harsher here. And as time expires in the first half, it's down the middle, so the Houston Texans grab at least something late on in that first. But we end at 21-3. They have as many points as we had first half touchdowns. Overall, a very strong offensive performance from that first half. A little bit slow at the gate. They bounced back after that first drive. Defense, they played very, very well. Taking a break from our game, we look around the league as it's a 21-10 game. Lions up on the Browns. Has not been a good year for the Cleveland Browns. They are 3-10. Lions looking to go to 10-4. As for our next update, to the east, we got the Jets hosting the Buccaneers. And it's the lower record team up on top, 24-10 Buccaneers, with Baker Mayfield having 3 interceptions. They are trailing Rams and Packers. And it is the Packers on top. 4 touchdowns for Love, a touchdown and an interception for Stafford. I wonder if that little flick is working for him still. But I think the biggest question is if that happened in Madden. Would Madden count that as a fumble, or would it be an incomplete pass? Maybe we'll find out as Stroud, as the Texans open up the second half. They are at the 28, making an empty set as a motion out Mixon. No change from the Jaguars defense. It's a quick throw out to tight end 2, maybe tight end 3. Oh, credit him a gain of 5. It's 2nd and 5. Jaguars bringing the heat, and it's Hines Allen picking up the sack. Walker in hot pursuit as well, forced the roll to that left-hand side. A big loss of 10. And 3rd and 15. It will be back at the 22. Trips go to the right-hand side. They bring the corner blitz, but it doesn't get back there. Instead, Stroud will easily scramble for the first down, sliding down safely this time. And that's where the blitzes have to hit home. Otherwise, you got man coverage. Leaves the middle wide open. Stroud looks to immediately scramble again. He's going to lose a yard in the process to Hines Allen. That gives him 6 sacks on the season. It's not his most dominant season by far, but we still got a couple games left to go. As Stroud looks to scramble again, he gets by Aluakin, but then gives himself up. All he needed was just 2 more yards. They'll try to get it here on 3rd. As they hand it off, it's Mixon. He's got the first down, a total of 3. Eric Armstead limits the game. And the Jaguars defense not able to get the stop before the first down marker. So at the 42, it's a fresh set as they go play action. And looking to load up downfield. Campbell gets the pick. They say feet down, inbounds. It's a second pick with a ball intended to Stephon Diggs. Again, we might have to take another look at this one just to confirm. Stroud loads up. At that point, it was 1v1. Campbell ends up dropping back. And the feet, I mean, they look good, but where was the point of the catch? Well, we're getting a thumbs up in the booth, so I guess they saw a good angle. It's 1st and 10 as they hand it off to Etienne. Gonna be a gain of 3. Harrison again, though, meets him down the middle. Now at the 23, I formation. Lawrence goes with the play action, and he looks to load up deep for Thomas, who's trying to run under it, and he did. He just forgot to bring the ball with him. A pretty good throw there from Lawrence, caught him on the run. Defender able to just tip it away. 3rd and 7, a quick opportunity here for the Texans as Lawrence scrambles. First time today, he's got the first. Looks like he has the go-ahead to scramble around as long as he isn't taking the big hits. 1st and 10. Then at the 31, as they go ETN, and there is Hunter. First time we've called his name today. Limits that to about half a yard at most, though there was plenty more waiting. Back into shotgun as they look to throw. Takes the hit, but he delivers the throw to Gabe Davis. 3 catches for him, 73 yards. They've all been some big catches. The 1st and 10 of the 41. They go back to number 1. And he bounces off a tackle, drags a couple more. And with that one, it puts him over 1,000 yards on the season. It's been a strong year for Travis Etienne Jr. Got a lot done in the receiving game as well, about another 500 or so yards. Play action for Lawrence as they're going downfield for Josiah DeGuara, who plays a little bit of a defender in that scenario. Flag down in the backfield. This one would be coming back. It's the 2nd holding call on the day for Harrison, and he has a 5th-year option coming up this offseason, and with all these holding calls, that might cost him. Travis Etienne, though, he'll just use and abuse 100 yards today. You give him an inch, he'll try to take the mile. 1st and 10 into plus side. As Lawrence bails all the way outside, he's got Davis, who gets the catch. He shakes one, jukes back inside, and dragged down at about the 4. Close to a touchdown for Gabe Davis. Reed flies over there to make the play for Houston. A touchdown saving tackle at the 4. A heavy set. They hand it off to Lawrence, and he might lose a yard or two. Alshire again making the tackle. They're going to give him some slight forward progress there, just inside the 5. Bunch goes to the right-hand side. Looking to float that way. See if anyone miraculously gets open. It's Gabe Davis, but it looks like there might be another flag down. And if you're Anton Harrison, you're not happy about that. It's his 3rd penalty. But there is not a single bit of holding on this play. And for him, he's got to hope that Boston realizes that. Otherwise, he might get pulled soon. Final play here of the 3rd. Again, bailing to the outside to try to buy some time. Lawrence will pick up some yards sliding down at the 9. That sends this one into the 4th quarter, where we just had a touchdown taken away. No one scored in the 3rd quarter. 21-3 remains the scoreline. But with the Jaguars still having one more opportunity here to get a touchdown back, it's 3rd and goal at the 9 as we start the 4th quarter. Lawrence throws across the middle and he misses an open Brenton Strange. Texans can count themselves a little bit lucky. Now out instead will trot Cam Little to tack on a field goal. And back down by 3 scores. It is 24-3. Houston will take the field at the 25. They need some big plays. Got to get their offense moving. As they look to go to Joe Mixon here. Halfback screen. It opens up. He's got the 1st down as Ringo sends him airborne. Not a very nice hit either from the corner. Mixon let him know. As there are about 7 minutes left in this game, they find Schultz, and he's another one upended by Ringo. He's got to be careful, otherwise he might be going to the Detroit Lions to play safety. 2nd and 7 at the 42 here for Stroud. He's got 2 to the right-hand side, plus Schultz going that way. Nico Collins gets the grab, about a gain of 5. They really haven't tried to spread out the field very much. Not really any deep shots. They've taken a couple. We got to pick on one. We'll see what they do here. Stick with a short game, 3rd and 2 most likely. Walker gets the rush, and he throws it right to Oluwakin, who's going to get the pick. Another mistake. And that's why it's been an interesting year for Stroud. He had the 11 picks coming into this one. Now Laramie Tunsil headed off the field with an injury. At the same time, Trevor Lawrence and the offense take the field. 6:06 left in this game. They start at the 47. Etienne with a bunch of running room to the left-hand side picks up another 1st down. 111 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns on a pretty decent amount of carries. Now the opposite 42, they get motion into the backfield. Sexton helps open up a little bit of a lane down the middle. Etienne with another 1. And they've definitely moved into their 4-minute offense here, starting to chew a little bit more clock. End around, And waiting for it was Harrison. He just tosses down Thomas, and it's a pretty decent loss of 4 there, setting up a 3rd and long, single high safety. As they look for Thomas downfield, he gets the catch and dragged down about an inch short of the goal line. Good pass, though, from Trevor Lawrence. And the boos have started to rain in from the Houston crowd. Not happy about that deep shot, and they're not going to be happy about that run either. ETN tacks on another touchdown here for the Jaguars as they go up 31-3, essentially the nail in the coffin in this one. So as Stroud and the first-team Texan offense head on out, it's going to be the second-team defense of the Jaguars, trying to get some of their younger guys a little bit more playing time with a little over 3 minutes left. As they get motion, play action, toss it to the outside. That's Schultz, who's going to bounce off of one tackle from Ringo. Not quite able to kneecap the Stanford tight end. Picks up a gain of 8. Stroud making a change here as he's going to send 2 spread either side. Mix it in the backfield. Stroud will look to throw across the middle, and he squeezes it into that one. Tank Dell bounces off a couple tacklers, and he's going to get him into plus side at the 45. A big gain there for Dell against the second-team defense. Pass across the middle. They get Stephon chopped out by Muma. And that'll be the 2-minute warning. Limited time left to try to pad some stats here for the Texans. It's 2nd and 7 at the 42. Stroud throws, open target. Jerrion Jones playing a little too soft there in the man on Tank. Well, that's why these reps are important. Well, it's not quite important for the outcome of this game, for future development. Ringo, he gives up a pass at Nico Collins with some revenge for some fellow teammates' knees. Looked almost like a Derrick Henry-esque style stiff arm. Walker nearly jumps off sides, gets back on side before Stroud snaps that ball. As he looks to pass, open target. Tank Dell's got a touchdown. Texans drive pretty easy on the second-team defense. And perhaps a little too much of a celebration given the scoreboard. But that will send Jaren Hall and the second-team offense onto the field here. They got 43 seconds to show what they can do. Though it does look like it's just the starting offensive line. So really just the receiving, running back, and quarterback that are switching things up. As they'll have time for just one more play. They hand it off to Tank Bigsby, who will tack on about an extra yard. But that puts this game away. A dominant win in division for our Jacksonville Jaguars, something they had not accomplished so far this year. But against the Houston Texans, the only team who could have rivaled us for this division, they dropped the first one. We'll meet them in just a couple more weeks. In between, we'll have the Colts and the Broncos, and we need to see this offense continue what they did here today, and the defense as well, against a really, really good receiving group with a tight end, with the running back mixed in there, a good young quarterback. They were just too much to handle. We picked off the ball, we got pass rush, and when they did decide to hand the ball off, we were there. And if you do that every week, you got yourself a very, very good path to victory as we look to move on after our victory to the Indianapolis Colts. They are sitting bottom of the AFC South at 4-10. The Baltimore Ravens, they won this week, so we are still 2.5 games behind them. They have already clinched playoffs. We would need them to essentially lose out if we are to have any hopes at gaining that first round bye. So as it appears, we will be going to the wild card as long as we don't mess up these next 3 games. And the last time that we played the Colts, it did not particularly go very well. 38-23, we gave up 324 offensive yards. Meanwhile, we had 367. This was one of those weird games where you look on paper, you avoid some stats, and it very much looks like we should have won. The reason that we didn't was because we couldn't keep the ball on our side. Trevor Lawrence did not particularly have a good game. He had an interception. Jaren Hall played a little bit. He had an interception. Neither one of these quarterbacks broke 40% complete. Meanwhile, Anthony Richardson had 3 touchdowns, 68%. You look to the running game. Trevor Lawrence, he had 80 rushing yards and a touchdown. That's great. He also fumbled the ball 3 times. That's not going to help out. Jonathan Taylor had 2 rushing touchdowns. He had 58 yards on 14 carries. Hall had a big scramble. Etienne really didn't get going at all, only 2.6 yards rushing. Receiving wise, big game for Brian Thomas Jr. This was his first game back from injury, but he only had the 2 catches. And while those 2 catches were for 2 touchdowns, needed a little bit more consistency. That's what we did not have. Woods was consistent. They hit a couple big passes to Michael Pittman Jr., one of which was for a touchdown. The whole synopsis of this game is that we just weren't consistent. We got to do better in that category. Lloyd picked up a lot of tackles. Aluakin was making a lot of plays in the backfield, 5 TFLs. We gave up 2 sacks to DeForest Buckner. He's going to be a problem for our running game. Do we look to go more towards the outside then, with him clogging the middle? Whatever our game plan is, it has to focus around Travis Etienne Jr. He's number 3 in total rushing yards. He has 14 touchdowns on the season. That puts him in second, and he's done it with 0 fumbles. He's our offense moving forward. Trevor Lawrence took a backseat today, and the offense played a lot better, and he played a lot better. Now we know, not that we already didn't know, who our guy is, and that is Travis Etienne. So to see if we can get some sweet revenge on a short week, hit that bear icon in the bottom right or scroll down, hit the sub button, as we are back Thursday night prime time in Jacksonville hosting the Indianapolis Colts. If we pick up probably 1-2 more wins, I'm feeling 1, we will have clinched our spot in the playoffs. If we take a look here, we are now 3 games up on Houston. We win 1 more, we are going to the playoffs. That is signed, sealed, and delivered. So we'll see you back here next time as we go back home to Duval trying to pick up 1 more win.